I was sitting up typing up the title
Okay.
for the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized once again, I had thought about this before, but I hadn't said it.
Mm-hmm.
You have the longest name and title.
Why do I know that is probably true? Are you for real?
Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Council,
Mm-hmm.
president,
Council,
president, pro temper,
You're right.
Wardine Alexander, District 7.
I didn't even think about it like that. You're so right.
Yeah, so that was my joke of the day.
Ooh,
The fact that you have the longest name and title
You're right.
of all of our city council people on the Birmingham City Council. Now, it is your turn. Tell me a joke.
Well, it's a little corny.
Okay.
But I'll go ahead and get started. And I have a question for you.
Okay.
What did one hat say to the other?
What?
Wait here and I'll go ahead.
Yeah, that was a good one. And you were like, you wanted to be sure you told your joke.
I sure did. I've been practicing it all day.
I'm going to do a little this or that with you. Just to get the juices flowing. And to remind people of some of your favorites. Regents Park or Rickwood Field?
Rickwood Field.
Botanical Gardens or Railroad Park?
Botanical Gardens.
Protective Stadium or Legacy Arena?
Protective Stadium.
Crossplex or Legion Field?
Ooh, that's one. I like both of those. I'll go with Legion Field, just for legacy.
All right. Birmingham Zoo or McWane Science Center?
McWane Science. I'm a STEM person.
Okay. Sloss Furnace or Vulcan Park?
Vulcan Park.
Alabama Theater or Lyric Theater?
Alabama Theater. It's one of the first times I went there when it was first integrated with my mom and sister. I remember
Really?
Thoroughly Modern Millie was the movie we went to see.
Okay. Civil Rights Institute or Negro League Museum?
Well, I'm a sports enthusiast, but I have to say the rich history of the Civil Rights Institute.
All right. Barons or Squadron?
Oh, Barons.
Legion or Stallions?
Stallions.
I know that's right. We've stayed at them games
we
together.
Were there. That's right.
Alabama or Auburn?
Oh, baby, Alabama.
Roll Tide, roll.
Roll.
And finally, Alabama State or Alabama A&M?
Got to go with my heart, Alabama State.
Alabama State. Tell me your favorite Bible story, scripture, or character.
I like the story of Naomi and Ruth. And just, I had a wonderful mother-in-law. And she was just so supportive of me. And we see two women that worked together and that supported each other. That's what I'd like to see, not only within families, but throughout life, women supporting women.
That's beautiful. If you could go back in time, pick an age, and tell me what advice you would give that younger self.
I would go back to 6 years old. Okay. And I would tell young Wardine, who was walking into the Jefferson County Board of Education so that I could attend school where my father taught, I would tell that 6-year-old, one day you'll be sitting on a Board of Education and you'll be working with students in the same realm as your dad.
That's really beautiful. That's really beautiful. I told you so. I'm just gonna get out here. I told you so. You were scheduled to come on the podcast in August.
Yes, I was.
Just to, at the last minute, remind people of your accomplishments and to remind people of who's been down with them since day one, right?
Well, I'm Wardine Alexander. I'm President Pro Tem of the Birmingham City Council, representing my hometown, my home place, District 7. I grew up in District 7. I was educated in District 7. Went on elementary, A.G. Gaston Junior High, went on to high school, went on to matriculate at the University of Alabama, graduated from the University of Birmingham, had a long career in medical technology and working in the clinical laboratory realm, had the opportunity as an empty nester to come back and live into the same home that I grew up in. And I had that opportunity to look around me and decide I want to be a part and be a part of the growth and change of this area. I saw that the area was not the same as when I'd left it. It was a beautiful area full of middle-class families, beautiful homes, great neighborhoods, and I began to see it to deteriorate. The blight, the overgrown lots, abandoned homes, what looked like people weren't really working within the community. And I really wanted to be a part and be a part of a difference to bring that back to light. Now, I talked about working and having a long career in clinical laboratory medicine. Part of the work I did was to onboard new hires. And I found that in working with these students, recent college grads, that some of the students were not prepared as others to come in and to take on the responsibility of learning the tasks associated with the job. So that's the first thing. I really kind of did it for selfish reasons when I went out to become a member of the Board of Education.
I remember you talking about
I wanted
that.
to work with the school board, and so that in my work as a school board member, I thought that I could work with the superintendent as he brought different things about curriculum and bring things to the board to vote up or down, and that in that way we could change some of the ways that we were providing workforce and really strengthening that. And so that's really the first reason that I became a member of the school board. I was appointed, then ran an election and won, but for my second term, I did not win. And so I had the opportunity to come back and think, how can I still be a part of the community? Even though I didn't win that school board race, I still wanted to be a part of change and bringing things and developing the community. So I went out and I decided to go out to become a member of the library board, continue to work until the time that within a year after that, then the seat became vacant for city council. And I thought to myself, you're still working the community, you still care about this community. Go ahead and put your hat in the ring to be appointed to the city council. I was appointed, won the special election in 2018, and won the term for 2021. And now we're here. I'm seeking re-election again in 2025.
That is wonderful. I got this little story I have to tell you. Even though I know half this city, and I love and support their endeavors, I like this city council as it is because I can trust this city council. I believe that this city council has always made the right decision in the long run. And I have seen this city council out there in the community, picking up trash, doing the little stuff that isn't on camera. And I have to go back to what you just said. When you lost that city council race, that school board race, then you decided to work on the the board.
Yes.
You have a candidate that has doggone near run against you every step along the way. One simple question. Has that candidate ever asked to partner with you on any project, be it school board, be it library board, or city council?
Not at any time has this conversation been had, or that the individual has come to me and said, let's work together. Let me roll up my sleeves. Remember, I attend the neighborhood meetings that each of the candidates who would likely run or are running at this time where they live. And so I attend a great number of those neighborhood meetings. Often have not even seen the individual within the neighborhood. So you've got to start grassroots. I believe in rolling up your sleeves. And I always say this about District 7, and this is what I love about the people that live in District 7. We don't just talk about the issues, we come up with solutions. I'll get out, I'll clean up my own block. I'll get out and I'll work to be sure that my neighborhood looks good. They do it on their own. It's not often that I always have to tell them. And so this is what I love about the spirit that's in District 7. And we have seniors, we have youngsters, we have all students that come in and want to help our community. And they have come to me and asked to help. But no, that individual has not ever come and said, I'll come and help.
Okay. I told you I was going to get straight to it, and we going to dispel some of the stuff. I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to throw it at you so that you can answer it for the public. A lot of people are upset that the city council, that the mayor have not said anything about what's going on with this Birmingham Waterworks Board lawsuit. Now, I got you on camera, and tell me what's going on. Tell us what's going on. And, why haven't you guys said anything,
Well, right now we are in litigation. We are suing the governor, and because we feel that it was an unlawful takeover and seizing of assets of the Waterworks Board. If you look at it, and so there's certain things I cannot talk about because we are in current litigation. But what I can talk about is that there was a process. We did go down, and when we were down, boots on the ground in Montgomery, talking about other issues. And we learned when you learned that there was going to be that takeover. And so I can't go into detail, but I do want to make sure everyone realizes that we are fighting. We've filed a lawsuit, and so you'll be able to hear more about that as we go in court.
Okay. Well, maybe or maybe not you can answer this question, but I was personally disgusted with our immediate past Waterworks Board appointees. I think except for one, they're my friends. But like I said in a Facebook post, I don't mix business with pleasure. I don't, make people vote based off of popularity and who they grew up with. I don't get down like that. So I made a comment that and people argued this. I made a comment that the Waterworks Board chairperson did not sell the assets back to the Birmingham City Council because they didn't ask them to. Now, from what I understand, the Birmingham City Council went to the Waterworks Board and asked them to do just that, and they looked y'all dead in the face and said, okay, and did nothing. Now, I believe if they had voted on it that night, we may be having a lot of different conversations right now. I know you can't talk about it Did I lie? Did I lie?
I'm just going to say that I'm very disappointed in the timing and the fact that there were options that I think that could have been taken to keep that from happening in the way that it did.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We'll move on a little bit. Because here again, there are things that you cannot
yes.
talk about, and I understand that.
Yes.
I want to give you an opportunity to brag. I believe that this is one of the most humble city council groups I've ever seen in my life, especially with the use of social media and whatnot. Y'all are doing much better.
Thank you.
Y'all are doing much better. But, you know, here again, people say things that are happening, aren't happening, this, that, and the other. Paving streets, pools, you know, what's really going on and what's being served up, and what are the things that, you know, you're going to sit here and be honest about and say, that's going to be a year or two. I want you to brag a little bit.
Well, let me start first by saying when we talk about the city council, I am very delighted to have served in this particular 4 years with the councilors that I serve with now. Do we all agree all the time? No. But we do a very good job. We have learned to agree to disagree. And we hear each other out, and there is a level of trust between the 9 of us. I think what is unique about this council and what I love most about the colleagues that I serve with, we understand the role of a city councilor. The role of a city councilor is to legislate, educate, and advocate. Because of the Mayor-Council Act, none of the 9 of us, we can't call one service department and say, fill that pothole, as much as I'd like to. I can't tell them to pave one street as much as I'd like to. I can't order anyone to tear down a house or to clean or cut a lot. But what I can do, and what I feel that we do, is advocate on behalf of our residents. We also look at our legislation. We look at our ordinances. Just recently, we've looked at our environmental control ordinances. And these are the ones that tells residents, don't park your cars in your yard. Keep your lots clean. Keep your grass cut. So we've looked at those and we've put more teeth into those. But in the meantime, we've also gone and we've called in our municipal court judges. Not only do we want enforcement of those rules that we already have in place. So I really, going back to what I was saying though, I really feel that as a council, we've been working together and that we know our role and we utilize the roles that we have. We have a lot of people that don't really understand what a councilor can and cannot do.
Right.
So what the most of us have been doing again is legislating, advocating, and I feel it's very important. Education and understanding the process is empowerment. And this is what I've tried to do in our neighborhood meetings. Be sure, take information to our neighborhood meetings so that managing expectations of the residents as well as myself. When you call my office, you report an overgrown lot, it goes through a process of inspection. They have to go and notify that property owner, and then you take them to court, and then that's when you finally get, if they don't meet the court decision, then you can take that lot and put a lien on that lot and have it cut. This takes a process. That process is shortening, but it does take some time. So I've been focusing for the past years that I've been on the council, I focus on 3 C's: community revitalization, community cleanliness, and community health and wellness. And so I've been very proud to do some things along those 3 C's. One, when it comes to community revitalization, you asked me about parks. My father was a coach, so I spent a lot of time outdoors watching him as he was working with the students and different sports. So the parks in my district are very important to me. So what I did, I took part of the $3 million that was allocated to District 7. I spent over $1 million that has been spent towards improving 3 of our legacy parks. That's Wiggins Park, Germania Park, and Oxmoor. Now, in recent weeks, we've had people that stand on those parks and said nothing has been done. That is not true. There is already capital projects that are in place where we're bidding out that work, we're scoping out that work, and we're going and getting materials, and contractors can come in and make those changes. That's important to me. I want our families to go out, and just as I enjoyed those parks when I was a child, I want other families to go out and enjoy those parks as well. So I'm very excited what we've done with ARPA dollars. I talked about being a medical technologist. I also provided over $350,000 for West End Hills Community Development Corporation. They've taken and vacated school within District 7, and they're turning that into a community development center. 2 of the rooms in that ARPA dollars have gone to build pre-K and STEM classes. These will be open to any of the students in District 7 or throughout the city, but we'll be targeting students that are within that area, and they'll have a place to come and they can have training in STEM and also pre-K. We know the importance of being able to start the learning development early on in childhood. 3 years old, even in the womb, is not too early to start trying to educate your children. So putting that money forward for STEM development, pre-K classroom development. There are other things we're also doing. It was important to me. I also gave money to Freshwater Land Trust so that we can build the trails. We have a very, very crown jewel in District 7, and that's Red Mountain Park. I want us to get out and walk that park. Get out in the trails, spend time with family, and we'll be connecting those trails. A lot is said about what doesn't happen on the western side. So these are things that we can improve for community revitalization. Workforce development. I was very excited to be a part of what's called UNUM, a cohort of Southern local elected officials. I went out and was able to get a $75,000 grant where I built a workforce development pipeline between Lawson State Community College and Buffalo Rock, 2 organizations that are within D7. We built classrooms, had training at Lawson State so that we could provide training so that people would already be trained and they could go in and get a livable wage and be able to get jobs at Buffalo Rock. So workforce development, community revitalization. When we talk about community cleanliness, I know one time when I first started, we did a lot of work in cleaning up our neighborhoods. I'm so happy now that I don't really have to plan those cleanups. I have residents that call me and say, come to our cleanup. We have several neighborhoods that are sponsoring their own cleanups. That's very important to me. That's empowering. Now they're not just waiting on Public Works to come and clean up their area. They're cleaning it on their own, and I've been very proud to work with that. Someone joked one time, and we had a TV station that came out, and they videotaped me while I was out cleaning up. And someone went on Facebook and said, now the mayor ought to be shamed, got that old lady out there cleaning up like that. I was a little upset because he called me an old lady. But the other thing was, though, I was okay about it because now we have seniors, we have young people, everybody coming out cleaning up. And then community health and wellness. When I first took office, just few years I've taken office, we all had to work with COVID-19, and we know how that shut down the city. And I was very happy to partner with Greater Shiloh Baptist Church. We had one of the first free COVID testing and COVID vaccine sessions for residents in D7 and on the western section of town. So I'm very excited that we went through that. We made it through COVID, but now I partner with Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies, and we're getting mammograms through the donations we're giving, making people aware of the importance of mammograms and how to help families when they have members that are affected by cancer. So just these small things that I feel as if they make a big difference in D7.
They make a huge difference. And I gotta ask this question because, and let me say, y'all do too much of it for me, as I say this, but there is such a belief that you, as a council and mayor, as our leaders, there's this belief that you don't do anything for our, less fortunate, and you don't care. And I don't, I'd love for you to address that as far as, expressing how you feel, but also talk about the pathway between somebody asking you for something to you getting money for something to it actually being enacted and actually seeing dirt move and then, talk about that, because I think a lot of the things people complain about, I literally saw y'all vote on a week or two before that.
And I think it's important for residents to know that we are allocated $100,000 each year as part of discretionary spending. There is an approval process. In my own office, I have a vetting process. But when you come to me and ask me for dollars for your project or a program that you want to implement in the district, I want to know, what's the project scope? Most importantly, what are the objectives? How are you going to be able to determine if you're successful or not? And we go through that process, and then paperwork is filled out. And then it goes up to the office of the city attorney. They're going to look at every fine tune and look at everything that you're trying to get. And so that can take a period of time. And again, $100,000, it may not be a game changer for everyone, but the programs that we do support, they can change lives and they can make a difference. Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies, other programs within Birmingham City Schools. Each year I give up of the $100,000, I make an effort to give at least $13,500 is what I gave last year for the 5 Birmingham City schools that are located in District 7. I think about all of the opportunities that I had as a child living in District 7. I want those opportunities to be the same for their students. I was educated in Birmingham City schools, so and I was very fortunate to have that education. So whatever I can do as a city council to supplement that, I want to put that in the hands of those principals and teachers so that they can make the time spent in those classrooms beneficial for our students.
Outstanding. You've mentioned the mayor a couple of times. Talk about your relationship with the mayor personally and professionally, and how that has made District 7 better.
Well, I feel it's an honor to be able to call Randall Whitman not only a colleague, my mayor, but a former school board member, and now city council representative, but also a good friend. I appreciate what he's done and what he does for the city. When I first met Randall, we were both school board members, and Randall was voted in as the president. I had the opportunity to serve under him as the vice president within our second year of serving on the school board. I found him to be very strategic, very passionate about what he wants for this city. And I also found him to be someone that wanted to be sure that we all grew and we wanted to serve. And so this is what I appreciate about him. Now, do we agree all the time? No, we don't. Are we always on the same page with everything? No, we aren't. Can we agree to disagree? Yes, we do. And that is what I like about that, the trust that is built that allows me to be me and him to be him. We're multi-generational. He's one generation, now I'm another. But I feel that we have that respect for each other, for the service that we want to give to this city and what we want to do for the people in this city. And again, it is a pleasure to work with him, and I find it an honor to have worked with him and to serve with him. But like I said, we can agree to disagree, and we don't always agree on the same things, but typically with the trust we have, we are able to come to some type of a consensus. Yeah. And I feel that he has that relationship not only with me, but with other members on the council as well.
And as you say that, there are a lot of jabs at him as well. And are there any of those things that are true? Have you had a terrible time working with him? I mean, over what, 20 years?
Well, it hasn't been quite that long, but I must say, like I said, some decisions I made as the president of the school board, Randall did not like. Some of the decisions he made, I didn't like. And we've worked things out as we've served on as he is the mayor and me as a member of the city council. But again, I believe it's that level of trust. It's the fact that I know he's going to bring the issue to you, and we'll discuss it, we'll talk it out, and we'll find out the truth of that issue. And that's how we work from that platform. And anytime that I've worked with anyone, whether it's been my boss or whether it's been a colleague, I've always wanted transparency and truth and trust.
Is there anything that I didn't ask that you would like to say? And at the end of that, I want you to look right into this camera and ask District 7 for their vote.
Well, I'm going to start off by saying it has been a pleasure to serve and to represent the citizens of District 7. These are people that I've known since I've grown up with. I was educated in District 7, I grew up in District 7, and I've come back to District 7 to want to make a change. I have, I've focused on 3 C's that I think can make District 7 a great place to live, work, and play. So I'm asking the residents of District 7 to vote for me, put your confidence in me. Let's work together as a team. We can do this. Is District 7 where we want it to be now? No, it's not. But I know that we can work together to bring about the changes that we want to see in our community.